Hello guys, how's it going? Fed here. Welcome to my lore channel. Here I'll be looking on breaking down the contents of League of Legends universe, and with that out of the way, let's get started. This time we will be featuring Yasuo, the Unforgiven. So, in order to understand Yasuo's motives and the story behind him, we will need to see the story through Yasuo's and his brother's Yorn eye view separately. Let's start from Yasuo's eye view. Yasuo is a man of resolve, an agile swordsman who wields the wind itself to cut down his foes. This once proud warrior has been disgraced by a false accusation and forced into a desperate fight for survival. With the world turned against him, he will do everything in his power to bring the guilty to justice and restore his honor. Formerly a brilliant pupil at a renowned Ionian sword school, Yasuo was the only student in a generation to master the legendary wind technique. Many believed he was destined to become a great hero. However, his fate was changed forever when Noxus invaded. Yasuo was charged with guarding an Ionian elder, but foolishly, believing his blade alone could make the difference, he left his post to join the fray. By the time he returned, the elder had been slain. Disgraced, Yasuo willingly turned himself in, prepared to pay for his failure with his life. He was shocked, however, to find himself accused not just of deserting, but of the murder itself. Though confused and racked with guilt, he knew the assassin would go unpunished if he did not act.
All I have left is the wind by my side.
Yasuo raised his sword against the school and fought his way free, knowing his treason would turn all of Ionia against him. Left truly alone for the first time in his life, he set out to find the Elder's real killer. Yasuo spent the next several years wandering the land, seeking any clue that might lead him to the murderer. All the while, he was relentlessly hunted by his former allies. For a long time he had to run, for death followed his back. People hunted him, once called him their friend. Now, when they drew their blades, they called me murderer. One by one, they found him. The first one was a swordsman of strength, renowned through Ionia. When we were young, I saw him cleave a tree in two with a single strike of his blade, but he could not cut the wind in half. The second one was a warrior of speed and grace. Agile and cunning, she outran the clever foxes in the wood, but she could not outrun the wind. The third man was a man of compassion. He taught me the meaning of patience when I was just a prideful child. My guide, my friend, my brother. Bound by a common code of honor, the two warriors bowed and drew their swords. Silently, they circled one another under the moonlight. When they finally charged forward, Yon was no match for Yasuo. With a single slice of steel, he cut his brother down. Yasuo dropped his weapon and rushed to Yon's side. Overcome with emotion, he demanded to know how his own kin could think him guilty. Yon spoke. The elder was skilled by wind technique. Who else could it be? Understanding swept over Yasuo as he suddenly realized why he had been accused. He professed his innocence once more and begged his brother's forgiveness. Tears streamed down Yasuo's face as his brother passed in his arms. Yasuo buried Yon under the rising sun, but could take no time to mourn. Others would be after him before long. His brother's revelation had given Yasuo a newfound purpose. He now had the clue that would lead him to the true killer. Swearing an oath, he gathered his belongings and, with one last look at Yon's grave, he set out with the wind at his back. But what were the events that led everyone to believe Yasuo was the killer? Let's look at Yon's side of things. What is a sword without the man behind it? Teaching a swordsman to kill is simple. The true challenge lies in teaching him not to kill. When I watched my young brother Yasuo begin training, he breathed life into the blade at first touch. One heard whispers in the halls comparing him to the sword masters of old. But as he grew and his skills increased, so did his ego. He was impetuous and boastful. He ignored our master's lesson and knew nothing of patience. Fearing my brother had strayed too far away, I went not to warn him, but to make an appeal to his honor. I gave him a maple seed, our school's highest lesson in humility, one Yasuo seemed to have forgotten. A seed is just a seed, but given time, one may come to know the beauty it holds within. Yasuo took my gift, and the following day he accepted a modest guard post. I had hopes he would learn the patience and virtue required of a true swordsman. It was not to be. Today, Yasuo committed an act of treason by murdering the very person he was sworn to protect. He has betrayed his nations, his friend, and himself. Were it not for my actions, I wonder if he would have been swept down this dark path. But my task is not to question. I must bear the burden of my duty. At first light tomorrow, I set out to capture a sword without a sheath. My brother Yasuo. But that's not the end to Yasuo's story. As he wandered the lands of Ionia, he met a girl from a distant desert, which had the power to shape stone. After a series of events, Yasuo came to become the teacher of that girl. They traveled together for long, each of them learning alongside the other. In the end, they had to part ways, but the girl gave Yasuo a piece of cloth to remind him of her, as was the tradition in the girl's homeland. And so, Yasuo took that piece of cloth and used it to strap down his long hair. That girl's name was Talaya. Talaya left on a boat to Freljord, and Yasuo set ahead on his journey to redemption once more. Also, I can confidently say that the mysterious assassin behind the Elder's murder is Riven, as she is the only champion that can use a wind technique alongside a sword, unlike Janna that only uses magic to her advantage. How Riven can wield the wind with her blade though is unknown, but I suppose it was just a clever way to implement her into some other character's lore. Now, I am really interested to see how Riot will decide to implement a fight between these two characters and who would be victorious in that fight. Maybe they both get to survive and have to learn how to live with their past. So, I really think Riot has done an excellent job with Yasuo's backstory, design and gameplay. Aside from the fact that a portion of the community absolutely despises Yasuo, no one can really deny he's actually very fun to play. I would love it if you could check my previous video on Camille and check my channel, or write in the comments down below which champion you'd like to see next. Well people, thanks for tuning in for Yasuo's lore spotlight. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you can give it a thumbs up if you did, or subscribe if you want to see more videos. It's been Fed, and see you guys next time.